Hello, we got the week 2 golf specific training 1.0 video here. I'm going to go through the different exercises we did. So where we started was the usual. We wanted to stretch out, a little dynamic hamstring stretch where we toe is out in front on the ground, alternating sides, back and forth, just stretching those hamstrings. Then we're going to go into our inside ankle touches. We do each of these about 15 times. Then we go outside ankle touches, just really spending a little time at each exercise. Don't overthink it, getting warmed up. Now we're going to go into our posture series where we go hands out here, squeeze the shoulder blades for about 20 seconds. Maybe a little lower, same thing, trying to lift the sternum, good posture, suck it in the stomach, keeping everything tight. Then we go elbows in nice and tightly. Again, squeezing the shoulder blades, lifting the sternum as we open our hands, squeezing those shoulder blades. Do that about 15 times. Then we go into our front arm raise where we pelvic tilt, front arm raise. Do not lose the pelvic tilt. We can do this up against the wall where you can really push that low back into the wall, maintain that contact against the wall, up and down. You can also do this laying on the ground, and that would be an even easier approach. Then this week in week 2, we added an exercise, the external shoulder rotation. We get to that golf stance, we start to practice that pelvic tilt. Don't overdo it, just a little release of the low back, engagement of the abs. We're going to do about 5 times squeezing the shoulder blades right here. And then we go holding those elbows in place right there, that external rotation. You may feel some achiness through the shoulders. Listen to your body. If your shoulders don't like that, don't do the rotation part. We can just leave it in this range here, squeezing those shoulder blades. Then we go into our 2 rounds of 4 exercises. Our first 4 exercises are as follows. We're going to take I like to use a chair where adjust this where you can see me a little better. We put our leg right beside the chair. Chair should be inside of the leg, not outside of the leg. Chair inside of the leg, other foot back nice and far, keeping that back leg straight. We're going to turn into this front leg. Do not let that knee drift out. Then suck in really tightly. Then we are going to go our second exercise, which is new this week, and we're going to go away from the front leg. You can take that heel, turn it out this way to really help open up that hip. So rotating away from that front leg. We're going to do about 5 times each way on both legs. That's the 2 exercises. Don't over rotate. Don't do too many of these. We don't want to end up with 50 rotations. We do just 5 on each side. Then we go into our kneeling elastic rows. We take our band, attach it to something stable. I put my knee on a pad. Let me adjust again. Got that here. I put my knee on this pad for a little comfort. Then it is very important to pelvic tilt. That's going to be tricky for some of you, I'm sure. But once we pelvic tilt, you will feel the stretch in that front leg. I'm going to switch it real quick. So you can see a little better. As I pelvic tilt, I feel the stretch right here. I'm going to do 15 rows squeezing the shoulder blades. Now this is a build on last week's exercise where we were trying to maintain that pelvic tilt and squeeze the shoulder blades. That's a little difficult, but it's a great move to help us with posture. So we're going to pelvic tilt, hold it 15 times, pulling in, squeezing those shoulder blades, and then just switch your legs around to do the other side. Then we do our Fourth exercise, where we're going to do snow skiers. We did this last week. Same exercise. Find that spine angle, pelvic tilt, tight stomach. 40 times, as hard and fast as you can. I want you guys to be explosive and strong. Then we're going to go into our next series of exercises where we go 4 more exercises, 2 more rounds through. We're going to do our lateral steps and our stork turns, but this time we're going to combine the 2 exercises into one exercise. So we're on one foot, lateral step to balance, stork turn, lateral step to balance, hold that balance, stork turn, step, turn, step, turn, step. You can go as explosively as you're comfortable with both sides, but it's important to hold the balance on each side, get a good rotation. Really, it'd be a good idea to do this in front of the rail so that as you go over, you can stabilize with that rail, stork turn, drive over, stabilize with that rail, stork turn, like so. That's one exercise. Then we got our load and punch. So this one, we're going to take our band, hook it to something stable. You know, the last week we were punching. This one actually isn't much of a punch. It's more of a load and fire with the hips. What you do, you take this band, you put it behind the back, wrap it around the front, hold that handle right on your hip. You're going to load that right hip so your weight goes to your right side, that hip goes back, and we're going to drive off of this right side into the left as that band uncoils those hips around and transfers your weight over to your left side. So intentionally go right to the left. You may need to step with it like we were doing before. I'll get this way so you can kind of see me. You may need to step and rotate. Step and rotate. Once that becomes, a little natural feeling, take that band, go in front of the hips. Now we're going to hold that band again on the hip. Now you're actually loading and driving into the resistance. So that resistance is getting tighter as you drive through. So load, drive through that right side. Really looking at transferring the weight from right to left with the rotation. Putting it in the hips now rather than in the arms because we don't want to swing with the arms. Then we're going to go into a new exercise called posting the leg. We take our band, I put this pad around the band, I attach the other end of the band to something sturdy, I put my leg through the loop. Gonna back up a little bit. So when we rotate, we want to post that leg so that you can rotate around in the swing. So what we're looking at doing here is strengthening that post, that straight leg. So I face where that band is anchored. I'm going to bend the knee, straighten the leg. Bend the knee, straighten. I'll switch legs so you can see better. Right here. So I suck in tightly, squeeze my glutes, bend, straighten. Bend, straighten. I'm bending the knee, straightening the knee. Standing up tall. Do about 15 to 20 of those on both sides. And then I go into my last exercise, my rotation with the ball and the elastic. We did this last week as well. I just go here, take my band, wrap it around the ball, wrap my arms around the middle of the ball, grab that band here, little bend in the knees, pelvic tilt. That's important. So we want to pelvic tilt, tight stomach, little rotation. Little rotation. I want the hips to rotate with the ball. Do not let the hips remain stationary, but actually turn the hips with the core as we maintain that tight stomach. Those are the 4 exercises of that second series. enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, talk to you later.